Hello to all you beautiful people. For those that don't know, my name is Adam, and for the next week, I'm only going to be eating food from Japanese convenience stores. Now, why do this? Why go through all this pain of eating ultra processed food and spending nearly double my weekly food budget? The first reason is just, well, because I can. I've been living in Japan for long enough now that I finally learned the word for plastic bag and would you like this heated up, which is this and this, by the way. But the real reason goes back a little further. For my entire life, I've lived, well, almost my entire life, I guess at this point, I've lived in the mid-Atlantic of the United States, where we actually have decent convenience stores. Around the US, the convenience store has this kind of bad image of things like 7-Eleven with those hot dogs that spin over and over again and you don't really know how long they've been sitting out there. But I grew up in Wawa country. Now Wawa, for those of you who don't know, is probably the golden standard for what a convenience store is in the US. So when I finally came to Japan for the first time, I was excited to try out all the different convenience stores. You know, hearing wonderful things about 7-Eleven and Family Mart and Lawson. So my first few days in Japan, I was eating convenience store food. Of course, part of that reason was because I was too nervous to actually go into a restaurant, but, you know, I wanted to try it. And did I enjoy it? Well, somewhat. But now that I'm here in Japan full time, I don't really go to convenience stores that often. So here are the rules. The main rule, of course, is that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I will only be eating convenience store food. I can't go to any other restaurants, I can't go to the supermarket to buy food, I can't do any of that. For the next week, so from tomorrow morning, Saturday, to the next Friday night, I can only eat convenience store food. Drinks is a little different because it's almost impossible most places to find a generic version of tea or coffee or a soda, so I'm not going to be too concerned about those. And that's another point. I'm only going to be eating the generic brands. So if I want ramen, I can't go buy a thing of cup noodles. I'm going to have to buy the generic convenience store brand, if that makes sense. With that all being said, let's cut to Saturday, where I really don't know what I'm getting myself into. So today is Saturday, the first day that I am only going to be eating convenience store food. The plan for today is I've got to head down into Tokyo for an appointment, so hopefully today we can knock out some of the harder convenience store chains to get to heading downtown, the ones that don't really exist in the area that I live in. No real plans otherwise, might just wander around Tokyo for a bit, so looking forward to getting some lovely convenience store food. It's really just dawning on me now how stupid this idea really is and how expensive it is too. But, what can you do? So, fun story, my doctor's appointment got canceled because even in Japan, for some reason, my insurance got canceled. God bless the Japanese healthcare system. Anyway, I've come here to Yoyogi, walked around in this kind of Shibuya, Shinjuku area, and even stumbled upon Spain Fest, which, if I hadn't taken this challenge to only eat convenience store food for an entire week, I most definitely would have gone hog wild. I used to live in Spain as a student, so walking through and seeing all of the things like paella, churros, bocadillos, it just kind of hurt having to walk through. But I am nothing if not committed to the bit. Anyway, for lunch today, stopped by a daily Yamazaki. Got a little chicken cutlet sandwich as well as a spicy fried chicken that we are going to try at some point. And that's about it. Also, look at this. Don't know if you can see it. It's Chiton, Japan's crazy mascot. Isn't it funny how things work out like that? One very abrupt cut later, it is now about 6 o'clock. And that means it's time for dinner. And me spending more money on dinner. For dinner tonight, we have gone to Family Mart. So from Family Mart, I've gotten 3 things. First, a bowl of yakisoba, cost about 500 yen. A famichiki, of course, because what else do you get at Family Mart other than a famichiki, which was about 250. And then a bottle of Pepsi, because I don't think any other convenience store chain in Japan carries Pepsi. Pepsi's not like Coke is, or even how Pepsi is in the US. You don't find it a whole lot of places. I think it's distributed by one company. If I'm wrong, there'll be something that calls me an idiot. But it's time for dinner. This whole meal costs 905 yen. So that puts our daily total at a little over 1,700 yen. So not too bad for the first day. But I'm gonna tuck into this dinner. That's all for day 1. Guten Tag and happy Sunday. Already on day 2 of eating convenience store food, and I've already gone and got breakfast at my local Lawson, backwards and censoring where I live. No real plans for today, but we're gonna try and knock out some more convenience stores. Also, yesterday, considering that I ate over 2,000 calories worth of food, we're going to try and keep that under 2,000 for the day. Gotta stay healthy. If you're wondering what I got from Lawson, by the way, I got a cream puff and this creme brulee flavored coffee. I think that one's gonna be the most interesting thing to try today.
That's way too sweet.
So I'm now back home after a day out in Tokyo. I went to a 7-Eleven for lunch, got myself a thing of macaroni salad and an onigiri for lunch, as well as their generic Mitsuya cider. I went into Akihabara today, which was really cool to see that they blocked off basically the main road in Akihabara. But after about an hour or so there, my stomach started hurting. Who would have thought that eating only super processed food would probably upset your stomach? Not me, that's for sure. But anyway, we're back home now for the day. I've got myself, let me put down my mic. Oh, okay. Got a bento box from my local Lawson convenience store. So a new mini for today. And technically I was there for breakfast already, but now trying their actual food and not just the cream puff that I've had for probably the 15th, 20th time now in the 4 or 5 months that I've been here. That's it for Sunday. Obviously, I worked 4 of the next 5 days, so it's gonna be a little difficult for me to film at my work, so we're not gonna do that. But of course, I will still continue to try to eat only convenience store food for the remainder of the week. And if it's anything like today is going to be, I think I'm going to be in for a very, very long week. It's now Monday night, and if you can't tell by my so eloquent choice of clothing, I had to work today, which makes it a little unfortunate as I'm unable to film at work for fear of being, well, fired. So I could not show off my breakfast or my lunch, but we went to Lawson this morning. I got myself a meron pan and a bottle of milk tea, and then for lunch I had a garlic pork bento box. And now it's dinner. So for dinner today, we have another brand new convenience store. This time it's Ministop. When I walked into the Ministop close to where I live, I was somewhat blown away. But not in a good way, because I felt like I was transported back to the United States. Whenever you walk into a convenience store in the United States, it's kind of like, do I really want to be here? At least in 90% of convenience stores around the US. And as I walked into this convenience store where some of the shelves were not full, where there was no one behind the counter, I say to myself, wow, I really have to eat here tonight, don't I? But alas, got myself first some spicy chicken, which when I asked the girl behind the counter, who eventually came to make for me, she went to the back and started heating them. So I don't know if she just threw these in a microwave or an oven or, threw them in a fryer, but it tastes like your standard popcorn chicken. But the other item on the menu tonight, and I cannot believe I am saying this, is spaghetti. Now, Japan is known for one thing. Actually, it's known for multiple things, but one thing that Japan is known for, at least in my opinion, is ruining foreign food. So not only am I eating spaghetti in Japan, I'm eating spaghetti from a convenience store in Japan. So if this doesn't kill me, then I don't really think anything can. But I guess we'll see after we eat. For breakfast and for lunch, I went to Family Mart today, got myself a Famichiki for breakfast, as well as a bottle of hot milk tea. And that's the best thing, honestly, is when you come to the convenience stores here, at least during the winter, they'll sell hot drinks. A certain cabinet has hot drinks in them. So walking to school in the morning when the temperature is about 45 Celsius, God no, 45 Fahrenheit, about 8 or 9 Celsius, and just being able to hold a hot bottle of tea in my hand felt really good. And then for lunch, I had a spicy pork ramen that was actually really good, and as one of the teachers I sit next to told me, is not actually Japanese, because apparently Japanese people can't do spicy food. So it was Taiwanese, but hey, still good all the same. Finally, for dinner, we arrive at the big one, the one you've all been waiting for, the one I've alluded to multiple times. Because today, for dinner, we've got 7-Eleven. There's actually two things I wanted to eat first, that being the two hot items. So I have off work tomorrow, so of course, well, apart from the fried chicken, which is standard, as I go into the 7-Eleven, I find a massive cookie. And me, the former 250-pound white boy that I am, I told myself that there's no way in hell that I could avoid eating a giant cookie. It tastes like diabetes. For dinner tonight, we've got a Japanese staple, a pork bowl with onion and rice, what you'd find at your local Yoshinoya, as well as a zero cider triple, which is supposed to be a Diet Mitsuya cider, but because it is 7-Eleven's brand, it's always cheaper. So plus one 7-Eleven on the drinks at least.
You know how some people say TGIF, thank God it's Friday? Well, for me, that's thank God it's Wednesday. Because it's Wednesday, so that means I don't have to work today. Of course, Tokyo also decided to pick the best weather for my day off. Today is the first day that it's gone under 10 Celsius, or 50 Fahrenheit. And it's raining all day, so God really looking out for me today. But nonetheless, we need to stagger on. So I've gone to Lawson for lunch today. Calling it lunch is a bit of an overstatement considering I have to go out in a few minutes, so really don't have a time to eat a big lunch. But we're about 2/3 of the way through November, so they're bringing out a lot of holiday items. This right here is I think Calpi's, I think it's a cream cheese cake flavored Calpis, which scares me a little. The one good thing about Japanese convenience stores, and I will give them this, is they love their limited time seasonal items. In the summer, it was all fruit-based. Up and through the fall, it's been maple or chestnut. And now, I guess, at least at Lawson, they're throwing out a lot of cream stuff. So, interesting to try that. In terms of food today, we've gotten some more chicken, as well as a skewer of pork. Just something very simple. As I said before, I need to go out again. About 600 yen. Can't really complain with that price. Well, you can, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, it tastes like cheesecake.
It's now dinner time, and for today, I've gone and gave Mini Stop a second try. Jeez, I almost burned the back of this thing. Someone told me that Mini Stop apparently has a soft serve ice cream machine, and me loving soft serve ice cream, I wanted to go try it. But then I realized something. Well, a couple things actually. First, the high for today is under 10 degrees Celsius, under 50 Fahrenheit. It's also raining, and me needing to carry a thing of ice cream back, maybe a 7-8 minute walk from Mini Stop to my apartment probably wouldn't go pretty well. So unfortunately, no ice cream for me. But I am looking forward to these Mini Stop bento for today. Got a chicken with rice and for some reason spaghetti bento, as well as a thing of spicy chicken and a generic grape cider. Cider is kind of just, I guess, their generic word for non-cola sodas. So I'm very excited to try this. Thankfully, there's only 2 more days left of this. I'm getting tired of it. My wallet is getting tired of it. And as much as it's nice to not have to cook and or do dishes for an entire week, I'm really missing being able just to eat healthier and also eat cheaper. I'm spending an average of 2,000 yen a day on food versus, 2,000 yen a day at the grocery store would be 2-ish days worth of food. So it's gonna be nice to when I can actually go ahead and cook. Plus, I'll probably stop getting weird looks from the convenience store workers as they see me enter the same store for about the 5th time in a week. I think they're probably gonna have to send someone to my house for a little wellness check at this point. It's Thursday, so you know what that means. It means I go back to work and can't film at work, of course. So today, for breakfast and for lunch, we went to 7-Eleven. I got a melon pan, my go-to pastry in the morning, as well as a winter-themed tea latte made by the company Kirin. Now, I didn't know what it was, and looking into it, it said it was just basically milk tea with some vanilla flavor added. Now, I enjoy vanilla. You would even call me a very vanilla man. Because I'm white and sweet, get your mind out of the gutter. But it was, just kind of fine. For lunch, I had a spicy pork and soy ramen, which was actually pretty good, although it was kind of expensive. So between breakfast and lunch, we were over 1,000 yen. And now finally on to dinner. So for dinner today, we went to a local Lawson, and I picked up a deep fried chicken bento, which is really just rice, a bit of egg, and some fried chicken pieces. It also comes with this sauce that I have no idea what it is. And then for dessert, I picked up this mint chocolate chip parfait. I don't know if it's actually ice cream or like frozen yogurt, but we gonna see. Tomorrow's finally Friday, and it's finally the day that I get to end this challenge. As I sit there eating my lunch today, the teacher that sits next to me says, "Oh, more junk food, eating so unhealthy." So I feel like I'm being heavily judged for bringing in a bento every day. So to show her we're eating healthy tomorrow. But of course, that's a problem for tomorrow, Adam, and not right now, Adam, who really just wants to eat his chicken more than anything in the world. For breakfast this morning, we went to Family Mart. I got a cafe al latte, their just standard craft boss, whatever, as well as a seasonal, I think it was an apple, custard, and whipped cream sandwich, which was great, but probably too calorically dense, considering the day prior, one of the teachers said to me that I'm eating too much junk food. So I then showed her by buying a healthy option, that being the spicy yakisoba that I had on day 1, but it was really good, so I decided to have it again. Today for dinner, we got 2 things that I wanted to try. I've gone to 7-Eleven today. I think it was one of the main 3 convenience stores that I don't know if I've been to the least, but in the past 2 days, it's the one that I hadn't been to. So today we're trying some utter abominations. Now, I make fun of the 7-Eleven rolling hot dogs that you see in the US. So what did I decide to get today? A cheeseburger from 7-Eleven in Japan. Now, if Japan is known for one thing, it's butchering other countries' food. So this cheeseburger scares me more than anything. Now, that cheeseburger aside, we come to the thing that
I think might actually kill me. The first time that I walked into 7-Eleven this week, I was looking around, near the onigiri, and noticed some soup. And today we're trying soup. And not only is this a regular soup, it's lobster bisque. Now, I personally don't trust 7-Eleven with anything that involves the word lobster. Oh, and I realize now it's not even lobster bisque, it's seafood bisque. So there's lobster and crab in this. Again, I think this might actually kill me, but there's only one way to find out. I don't think I've actually ever showed myself eating anything. So we're gonna try this cheeseburger. Just look at this high quality cheeseburger. The bread that I wouldn't be surprised if there's mold in it. The tiny patty, the tiny bit of cheese. Actually just tastes fine. Like it tastes like a normal cheeseburger that you'd buy, like I don't want to say a White Castle cheeseburger, but like those ones that you get in the US in the grocery store. That's what it tastes like. I didn't even realize there's also ketchup on this. They're really showing out for me. But, let's try the main assassin for today. This seafood. Ooh. That is most certainly an interesting color to the seafood bisque. No. Itadakimasu. I don't know if I want to try this. Well, spend 200 yen on it. Wow. That's not good. Y'all want to see something funny? I decided to hold on to every single receipt that I had over this past week. Yeah, just a couple here. From Lawson, 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Mini Stop, and even the one from Daily Yamazaki. It just kind of puts into perspective exactly how many times I went to a convenience store over the course of the last week. Now, of course, I will address the elephant in the room. Look at my haircut, man. Look at that shit. I got the side fade and everything. It's actually been a few weeks since I've gotten my haircut. And I got my haircut the day after this challenge ended. And in the challenge, I said it was mid-November. Now, my parents sent me an advent calendar, and you can just see by the amount of doors that are open and how long it's taken me to record this ending part of this video. Name something more iconic. Me and forgetting to record outros to videos. So now the moment you're all waiting for. How much did I spend over the course of these 7 days? Well, drum roll please. The final total is 12,799 yen. Or a little under 2,000 yen a day. I also ate about 15,000 calories worth of food, so over 2,000 a day, but owing to the fact I walk 3 miles a day, somehow managed to maintain a calorie deficit. But oh boy, was it close. Now, do I recommend that you do this? No. And here's why. Let me explain this by talking about Coca-Cola. So one day I went to a convenience store for lunch. And then right next to the convenience store was a supermarket, and then next to the supermarket was a drugstore. So I walked into the convenience store and tried to find a bottle of Coke. At the convenience store, 7-Eleven, it was 183 yen for a 500 milliliter bottle of Coca-Cola. I walked next door to the supermarket, and it was 138 yen for a 700 milliliter bottle of cola. And then I walked next door to the drugstore, and it was 127 yen for a 700 milliliter bottle of Coca-Cola. So really, what's the point in going to a convenience store if you're trying to save money when if you walk into a drugstore or a supermarket, everything will just be cheaper? So do I recommend that you do this? And even if you're visiting Japan, should you be eating exclusively from convenience stores? No. And there's a couple reasons why. First, and honestly most importantly, I think is that just it's not worth it. If you're coming to Tokyo, there's so many other different restaurants that you can go to that have food for better and, only slightly more expensive. So there's really no reason to go to a convenience store for food. Secondly, the purpose of a convenience store is to be convenient. Yes, if you need a snack or you're on the run trying to get something, it's good, but again, if you're actually looking for food, if you're living here, just go to a supermarket. If you're traveling here, there's so many restaurants you can go to, like I literally just said. So to wrap everything up, are Japanese convenience stores really all they're cut out to be? I mean, for the convenience aspect of it, yeah, the food is, at least edible most of the time. And for breakfast, honestly, I don't see any problem with going to the convenience stores, especially as someone who, needs to make a 40-minute commute to work every morning. Just stopping in, getting myself a little rice ball or a piece of bread and a drink is perfectly fine. But if you're coming to Japan to visit, yeah, maybe for the novelty, stop and get something from a convenience store, but you really shouldn't be looking to eat there more than 1 or 2 times. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. This is something that I want to continue doing, and seeing those numbers go up activates the neurons in my monkey brain and makes me want to continue making videos. With that all being said, I've been Adam, and have a wonderful day. See you later.